Beloved fratres, sorors, and friends of our order, greetings. Welcome to the Grand Administrators E-Forum for the month of July 2021. Our topic tonight is Man the Problem, Man the Solution. For those joining us for the first time, and a reminder to our regular attendees, here are the rules of engagement. All microphones will be muted to avoid hallback effect. If for any reason you are not muted, kindly assist in muting yourself when you're not speaking. In line with cybersecurity policy, anonymous questions will not be attended to. What this means is that questions and comments from devices without real names will not be attended to. To ask a question, kindly utilize the Q&A feature on your screen. To leave a comment, please utilize the chat. We humbly request that we keep the questions narrowed down to the topic and discussions for tonight. We are also live on our YouTube channel, Amok Nigeria, and the link is being shared in the chat area. Kindly share with our members who are unable to join us here. And should you experience network glitches from your end, please do not hesitate to join on our YouTube channel. If you're yet to subscribe to Amok Nigeria, kindly do so and turn on notification in order to get info on new updates. Also, the recorded version of this session and videos from all our sessions, as well as other videos, are available to you on this channel whenever you visit. My name is Nefertiti Ohimai, moderator for this session. So let us now welcome our most worthy Grand Administrator and Director of the Supreme Grand Lodge, Frater Kenneth U. Idiodi, on the topic, Man the Problem, Man the Solution. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah Nefe. I want to, on behalf of the Rosicrucian Order, AMOK, welcome our members and the viewing public, those who have been invited by our members and who are linked up with us and virtually with us for this program. From time to time, we make an effort to look back at our past and then contemplate the present as well as the future. And so, based on requests and suggestions from some of our members, especially in Ghana, the UK and the USA, as well as from various states in Nigeria, it became necessary for me to revisit and once again present, and now on this platform, a discourse that I wrote many years ago because of its relevance then, and interestingly, even more so in this pandemic era, which I earlier entitled Man the Problem, Man the Solution, a title that is the same today and therefore also tomorrow. And so I request that, as usual, wherever you may be, you sit relaxed and then observe some deep breathing, neutral breathing. By that I mean you take in a deep breath slowly and without holding it. You exhale slowly and without holding out, you take in the next deep breath. Like that, in and out at your own pace until you begin to find yourself in a state of equipoise and relaxed. This way, you shut out all thoughts and are with yourself and with us all virtually. It is by turning our thoughts inwards in this condition that we find ourselves in resonance and in attunement with our innermost being. We are at home with ourselves and can speak to our higher self. We can communicate with God as we unite in an opening prayer. God of our hearts, God of our realization, we are thankful for your presence with all of us in this virtual forum. Grateful for your divine light, divine life, and divine love within and around us. And ask that whatever personal and collective problems we may have, we receive your divine inspiration as to the solutions and go about applying the techniques we know and learn of to resolve issues that may confront us at physical, mental, emotional, domestic, official, business, as well as social levels. May our coming together be to your glory and the good of all. So much it be. And now, dignitaries, Protestants, Rose, friends of the Rosicrucian Order, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We have frequently heard, and experience has confirmed, that man, the human being, is the architect of his own fortune or misfortune. Indeed, each passing moment, we create and recreate our individual and collective destinies through our thoughts, utterances, actions, beliefs, convictions, desires, or ambitions. In the early 70s, when our Nigerian administration started, my office was invaded by a barrage of letters from an over-enthusiastic young man who was so obsessed with his ambition to open the third eye that he virtually wrote to San Jose, California, and to Lagos, where the regional office of the Rosicrucian administration was, every other day until we closed 2 files on him alone. No written reply could satisfy him, and he did not respond positively to an invitation for a personal discussion over what he termed his only problem in life, namely how to open his third eye. In the course of time, we ceased receiving communication from him, and we had forgotten all about this member whom we rightly suspected must have impatiently abandoned the Rosicrucian path for what he frequently referred to as the shortcuts or the speedy way to illumination. This was the time when the Rapid Results College was very popular among private students who, by correspondence, studied for the General Certificate of Education. This member yearned for rapid results in his study and practice of Rosicrucian mystical principles. The slow and steady gradual process of the graded Amok study program was grossly inadequate for a member of the jet age, as he described himself. Some 6 years after a long pause or holiday or vacation in correspondence to us, we again started receiving a fresh series of letters from him. This time, he had returned from India after a brief course with an occult school. He reported that he could now see with his third eye and wrote several pages in each letter describing scenarios in marketplaces about persons he saw or perceived in multi-colors and silhouettes. He could not understand or interpret his new experiences and therefore concluded that everything in the world around him was useless. As it turned out, the subsequent problem of this member was how to close the third eye. He was so desperate about being rescued from viewing several channels of psychic television free of charge that he was prepared to pay any amount to close what he spent so much to open. This story lays the foundation for sharing with you my sanctum contemplation on man the problem, man the solution. The message is perhaps more relevant today in an era when people talk of instant tea, instant coffee, or perhaps instant mysticism. An era when some long-standing members of Amok quit the Rosicrucian path in frustration and write to us to say they have not seen what the Rosicrucian Order Amok has done for them. The big question is, what does the human being, man or woman, really want? How many persons truly know what they want in life? In a World Convention discourse on building a better world, which I delivered several years ago, I shared some thoughts on this dilemma, which I must now crave indulgence to quote briefly from my own writing. A little contemplation of world problems soon brings into the limelight what must be regarded as the most relevant factor in mundane issues. I am here referring to man. Yes, man is at the very center of events insofar as world conditions are concerned. One way in which man constitutes the key factor of global harmony is the mere fact that it is essentially man who realizes and complains loudest of inharmony. Remove the human being from this planet, and no one will hear discordant notes. It is indeed ironical that it is man, the complainant about world tensions and strife, who is in fact the very maker of these conditions. It is human beings who, by thoughts, words, and deeds, have collectively polluted the earth by sowing seeds of diseases, wars, and woes, thereby invoking the question as to whether the planet is becoming a better world or one that will not be a desirable place in which to live in the relatively near future. If we are frank to ourselves, the situation has not changed. For indeed, man is, has been, and will continue to be the problem. But interestingly enough, man is also the solution. Please note that I have used the word man in the generic sense to include both genders. More inclusively, the human being is the problem and the human being is the solution. Even when it is affirmed that Christ or a world Messiah is the answer to our problems, it should be realized that the human being must first accept, believe, and adopt better ways of thinking in character and lifestyle. Therefore, the human being must still accept initial responsibility for the problem he has created, as well as for the solution. In the Holy Scriptures of the world, the Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Christian Bible, the glorious Quran, etc., all concur about the temporary earthly status of man. If this great literature are guides to true living, and we have increasing evidence that they are, we must ask ourselves certain salient questions. If indeed God created man in the image of God, what more does man need for God's sake in order to be a success in the business of living? In the practice of mysticism, which is essentially an effort to return to the source from which we all came, we experience the fact of life that one human being is different in many ways from another, even in cases where two persons are identical twins. For this reason, the sages admonished, man, know thyself, and after that, be thyself. Discover thy mission and strive to fulfill it, for therein lies true happiness, the joy of living, and success in life, unquote. Instead of this, most of us would prefer to spend time to gossip about and to know about other persons with a view of either running them down or trying to be like them rather than being ourselves. We may even try to fulfill their ambitions and perhaps forget to fulfill ours, if at all we ever made any genuine attempt to discover our own role, our own mission. It may be argued philosophically that by knowing others, we will eventually know ourselves. However, is it not more mystical and straightforward to begin with ourselves, to discover our niche in life and attain self-mastery through a knowledge of self and our environment? We can see in this, fratres and sorors, ladies and gentlemen, how man is a problem unto himself and therefore must be the one to sort it out in accordance with cosmic law. Take a moment to observe our world and human behavior. And the more you do this, the more you get convinced that man is the problem and man is the solution. Is it the case of the low-income earner who laments that he has only 6 children, but since 5 of them are girls, he wants the wife to try for a boy, the 7th child? Or is it the case of the society lady who has a dozen suitcases of clothes, but has threatened to pack out of the husband's house if he receives no financial assistance to purchase a befitting new dress for the upcoming evening party? What about the shrewd businessman who has several estates in his country, but is almost becoming hypertensive because his tenant in one of his several houses abroad has not paid rent for the past 1 year in a much needed hard currency? Even in the most peripheral of human wishes, desires, and vagaries, we notice this. The short person will prefer to be taller. The dark-skinned lady would prefer to be fairer. Some white people will travel in search of sunshine to tan their skin. The slim person wants to put on weight until he or she becomes so fat that the next ambition will be to reduce. The poor want to be rich, and the overly rich are so worried about their personal security that they wish they were at least a little poorer. People want to be anything but themselves. This is not to say that we should not have ambitions. but we must remind ourselves of one who cried to God for having no shoes until he came across another human being who had no legs. A good dose of contentment and patience will assist us in achieving most of what we want in life at the appropriate time. Let us now revisit the young man who had two functional physical eyes, but was so desperate about the third eye. There are many in this category. Having read and heard so much about the third eye or psychic sight, the sixth sense and attunement with the fourth dimension, they now want to plunge into this realm of functioning without systematic and seasoned preparation. The result is that they see many things about people and the world and embark upon embarrassing predictions, since they have not acquired the self-mastery or self-discipline to remain silent and speak only when it may be useful to the parties concerned. Francis and Feroz, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing wrong in acquiring the penetrating intelligence to see through people and the world into their past lives and past history. But it would be ethically improper in the practice of Rosicrucian mysticism to broadcast such knowledge either as a show of power or in order to intimidate or embarrass anyone. Since the cosmic screens our intentions, it stands to reason that the doors of perception will be closed to those who have the wrong motives, and any who forces such doors open must also face the karmic consequences of perception in higher realms with an unprepared mind. For these and many other sound reasons that conform with high standards of social etiquette, the Rosicrucian Order Amok does not encourage its members to indulge in spurious, speculative, or frivolous predictions on an annual or routine basis. For goodness sake, what does it matter if some people will revolt, or some judges retired, or a head of state will pass away, or the world will come to an end on a specific date, if the prophet of doom did not foresee that he could be sent to jail for raising partly true and partly false alarms that could generate ripples of public confusion and chaos. Here again, man is both the problem and the solution. We must patiently learn to adapt and adjust to the various changes which the vicissitudes of life present at every stage of our mortal existence. There is no crash program for the evolution of our soul personalities, and therefore no need to rush or hurry excessively in the awakening and development of our God-given faculties. Whatever our goals and objectives in life are, a proper digestion of the Rosicrucian mystical philosophy will enable us to face problems with a balanced and correct attitude, which will attract the right solutions. Let me, on this note, share with us the experience that the Rosicrucian Order, ancient mystical order Rosae Crucis, and her members, who constitute quite a portion of the industrious, law-abiding, selfless, and God-living Nigerians, Ghanaians, Africans, Europeans, Americans, Asians, and humans in our planet, were for a long while blackmailed, ostracized, tormented, traumatized, victimized, stigmatized, and discriminated against through the deliberate misrepresentations of the purpose of amok by some fanatics on the religious side. It is for this reason that from time to time, we use opportunity available to us to commend our members, their families and friends of the order for keeping faith and standing by us throughout the period of unprovoked persecution and calumniation. We have repeatedly emphasized that the Rosicrucian order, ancient mystical order Rosae Crucis, is a school of learning devoted to the study, investigation, and practical application of all natural and spiritual laws, which form the basis of mysticism. The Encyclopedia Britannica defines mysticism as a spiritual quest for hidden truth or wisdom, the goal of which is union with the divine or sacred, the transcendent realm. Simply put, mysticism connotes personal awareness through direct experience of the source of all being, variously called God, the first cause, Allah, or the equivalent in other languages. Everyone has the potential and connection available for direct and immediate union with God. The method to achieve this is what the Rosicrucian order Amok teaches without recourse to dogma. Mysticism is undeniably the root of all true religions. Any religion that has lost its native mystical essence or pretends to be averse to mysticism is like a ship without a rudder. It's like soup without salt. It's directionless, grossly materialistic, and completely devoid of its spiritual anchor. As has been clearly defined, mysticism is not and cannot be anti-religion, that is against religion. No, mysticism is not against religious practice and has nothing to do with magic, the mysterious, the weird, witchcraft, or necromancy. As aptly stated by the famous Rosicrucian scientist and Times International man of the century, Albert Einstein, and I quote, "The fairest thing we can experience is the sensation of the mystical. It is the fundamental emotion which stands at the cradle of all true science. He who knows it not and can no longer wonder, no longer feel amazement, is as good as dead." In this unique era, when many nations throughout our planet are yearning for rebirth, we hereby reaffirm that there is only one God in the entire universe. This supreme intelligence, universal consciousness, is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, ubiquitous, present everywhere at the same time. And this eternal God is the only God of all humanity, comprising Rosicrucians, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, etc. This immeasurable and ever-living God cannot be appropriated by any person, group, sect, or religion. The time has now arrived for all human beings throughout the face of the earth to close ranks and relate with one another in true fraternal spirit. The time has now arrived for us to forgive one another in order to facilitate forgiveness from the higher realms with regard to our human frailties of insincerity, hypocrisy, avarice, hatred, religious bigotry, and political intolerance. The time is also propitious for us to practice and not just preach the golden rule of loving our neighbors as ourselves and doing unto others as will be done by, to further ginger our national renaissance at the various nations we belong to and promote global stability and world peace. May each human being, each organization, and each religion understand its role and fulfill its mission. For as succinctly stated by a sage, life is a mission. Any other definition is false and leads all who accept it astray. Religion, science, and philosophy, though still at variance upon many things, all agree on this, that every existence is an aim. Francis Nsoros, the aim of the Rosicrucian Order Amok is to free humanity from the darkness of ignorance, the enslaving influence of fear, the shackles of superstition, and the sufferings of avoidable karma. As was the case with ancient civilizations of Egypt and Greece, as well as the modern European countries and the United States of America, the universal principles taught by the Rosicrucian Order Amok promote civilization through human development and nation building. May the Almighty forgive and bless all those who have persecuted and maligned others out of ignorance and or fanaticism. May God bless all religions and fraternal and esoteric organizations of the world with the spirit of love and tolerance. As we collectively march towards the attainment of nationhood in all nations of the planet and promote peace amongst our various nations that constitute the earth, may God bless the presidents of all nations on earth, justices of the judiciary, the honorable members of parliament, of national assemblies, as well as the print and electronic media. And finally, may the peace of God abide with each and all of us now and always, infusing in us the realization that man, who is the problem, who is responsible for our self-inflicted sufferings, is at the same time the solution or the agent for resolving the challenges we face on earth. Thank you. I will now be inviting our moderator to take questions for a few minutes and comments, of course, for a few minutes before I round off with an attunement with the Celestial Sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambosua, the Grand Administrator, for this beautiful topic. Before I take questions or comments, I would like to remind, or I would like to inform the friends of our order what the Rosicrucian Order is about. Although Ambosua, the Grand Administrator, had already mentioned what the Rosicrucian Order Amok is about, but it's okay for me to remind us again. The Rosicrucian Order Amok is a global school, an educational and cultural, as well as philosophical organization that offers time-tested education on several important subjects that are essential for the attainment of health, happiness, and peace. The order is not a religion. Our members belong to various religions of the world. We are a non-political, non-governmental, mystical organization made up of men and women that are devoted to the study, investigation, and practical application of natural and spiritual laws for their personal well-being and advancement of humanity. So, to ask a question, beloved fratres and sorors and our guests, kindly utilize the Q&A feature on your screen. To leave a comment, please utilize the chat area. And if you wish to speak, like I mentioned earlier, if time permits, kindly utilize the raise your hand feature on your screen. I'm also the Grand Administrator. You know, here present, we have friends of our order, and they have asked certain questions even before we started the session. they ask, what do we mean by fratres and sorors? Yes, we have tried giving them explanation what fratres and sorors mean, but it will be fair enough for them to hear directly from you at this session since they are here.
Thank you. The Rosicrucian Order, and I've said before that AMOC is an acronym for Ancient and Modern Mystical Order Rosary Crucis. Implies that we are a very old organization, and we are propagating and perpetuating ancient mystical principles for the modern mind that is digitalized. And because these principles touch on eternal truths, they are as valid today, even more valid today as they were in yesteryears. So, going back to origins, frater is Latin for brother. Soror is Latin for sister. When we say fratres and sorors, we mean brothers and sisters because we are members of a fraternal organization who know that human beings are brothers and sisters under the fatherhood of God and the motherhood of nature. If we understand nature as being the outward material manifestation of the mind of God or the supreme intelligence. Thank you. Next question.
Thank you very much. So, man the problem, man the solution. Man know thyself, man be thyself. And remember, the cosmic screens are perception. Okay, so our first question is from Frater Anesu Audu. What can be done to prevent the black man, notably Nigeria, Chad, Southern Sudan, etc., from retrogressing? Something peculiarly wrong with the black man? Is there something peculiarly wrong with the black man?
No, there is nothing wrong with the black man or with the white man or with the brown man or with the human being of color. But there is everything wrong with how we may approach life when faced with problems, especially if we do not understand that most of the problems were and are self-imposed. Generally speaking, or from a philosophical point of view, we may see life as a coin. It does not matter now whether you see this coin as a bronze coin or a silver coin or a gold coin. It is a coin, and on one side of the coin is the problem, and on the other side, the solution. Meaning, therefore, that for every coin, symbolic of life, if we flip it or know how to look at the other side when we are faced with problems, we will perceive the solution, receive inspiration as to how to resolve any issue or challenge that we may face at the individual level or at the level of the collectivity, be it family or office or business or what have you. So now, the various races we have on Earth, and anthropologically, it's said that perhaps the black person or man or woman may be the oldest in the planet. This is debatable, but archaeological evidences in recent times have brought to play upon us, and this is being researched into all the time by various universities. It does not matter whether the black person is the oldest or it is some yellow person. What is important is that every human being, regardless of gender, race, color, was and is in the image and likeness of God. When we look at it from this perspective, and the fact that the human being is essentially a spiritual being in a physical body, in a mundane environment, it should be obvious to us that wherever we look and focus upon on earth, there are challenges, and our capacity to cope with these challenges take us from one level of functioning to the next, from one level of civilization to the next. So I would like us to not consider color of skin, but of the capacity to learn, the willingness to change through proper education, and our focus on how to resolve issues when they arise. The more you go to school, either within a classroom or nowadays through open universities and institutions, the more educated and the more enlightened you become, that will bring progress for yourself, progress for your community, progress for your nation, and progress for our common humanity. So the key here, the key thing here is education. Through proper education, which I have said in the past and I repeat it today, includes spiritual education, we are able to raise our to a higher level and become more progressive, forwards and upwards, rather than retrogressive, backwards and downwards. Next question.
Thank you very much, Amos, for the Grand Administrator. I will be unmuting Frater Anthony Izebuno. He would like to speak directly. Frater Izebuno,
hello.
Please. Frater Izebuno.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, greetings. My name is Frater Anthony Irwe Izebuno from Memphis Lodge, Lagos. My name is my own is a comment. Now we have had many GA forums. Okay, can I continue?
Yes, please.
Please go ahead.
Okay, we have had many forums this year alone, and all these forums bear the same label, GA East Forum. Now it's becoming monotonous and uninteresting because we cannot go back to a past forum like this one today. Immediately after today, we cannot go back to this forum because it bears the same label with others. The previous ones last year, some of them bear the title of Nefertiti Ohimai. The way forward, I think it is better to label each of these forums so that you can easily go back to past forum. For instance, there was a forum, The Concept of God. I cannot find it. The all BLGA forum. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I don't think you got it right here, Frater, because I received a notification about this forum myself, and it was clearly stated that the title or theme of this forum would be Man the Problem, Man the Solution. Man the problem, man the solution. I agree with you that in some occasions in the past, we didn't specify a title. It was simply labeled GSE Forum. That has been corrected. And in more recent times, we have advertised the theme as well. E.g., the one on avoiding disasters was so advertised, and so on and so forth. So, but it's good to have made this observation. Sometimes we wonder what we can do by way of improving these sessions without the feedback such as you have given us. This has been noted, and we appreciate your comment. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm also the Grand Administrator. To also add to that, Frater Anthony Izebono, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you would have all of these videos available with their dates on the YouTube channel. So I expect after this session, just go to YouTube, Amok Nigeria, you would see the various sessions, the various videos for the sessions. Thank you. Then to remind our audience, our attendees, please, it's a mandatory rule, is a criterion with regards to virtual events. Like I said, when giving the ground rules, I stated, in line with cybersecurity policy, anonymous questions will not be attended to. What this means is we're not referring to the brand name of your device. We're talking about your real names. For me, for instance, it's showing Nefertiti Ohimai, that is my name, not my device name. So when you send in questions and comments, we are unable to take it because we do not want to breach cybersecurity policy. Please, I'm saying this because some of the questions we have received, we have some from an anonymous attendee and the other from just showing numbers. We would appreciate if you can just modify or rename your device. Thank you. Then Frater Okwagwe Felix, you asked, can we have this session on YouTube as with others, please? Yes, we are live on YouTube as we speak. Right now we're live on YouTube, and we would also have the recorded session after this whole thing there on YouTube, as well as other videos. Frater Zeus is asking our most worthy Grand Administrator that he would like to understand the concept of the third eye better.
Oh, okay. Each human being is dual in nature. And by virtue of this law of duality or polarity, we have our physical sense organs that enable us to see. E.g., the eyes enable us to see. The nose, the olfactory sense, enable us to smell, perceive odors. The mouth to taste, and so on and so forth. Correspondingly, we have the non-physical sense organs, which may be seen as psychic organs. Where we talk of seeing with physical eyes, we can also talk of seeing with non-physical eyes, and we say we could also be clairvoyant, seeing without physical eyes, clairaudient, hearing without physical ears, etc., etc. So it is these non-physical sense organs that are generally referred to as extrasensory perception. But the term extrasensory is actually a misnomer because it is a faculty, if you come to think of it, of the first dimension. Generally speaking, people refer to these other faculties as if they are functioning in the fourth dimension. But from the Rosicrucian point of view, it should be the first dimension, because without it, the remaining dimensions will not exist to us. It is a rate of electromagnetic wavelength by which we are able to perceive with our non-physical apparatus. So bubbling enthusiasm on the part of many students of mysticism, esotericism, etc., to want to quickly be able to see with their non-physical sense organs. And we have admonished in this organization that we should not rush this process. And as I've spelled out in this discourse, it is a gradual process. We have all these faculties at the time of birth intact, but as we grow more and more in the development of the physical sense organs, we tend to reduce, if not lose altogether, capacity to perceive with the non-physical sense organs. And from our mystical studies, we are being encouraged to pay attention to the development of the non-physical sense organs so that we begin to perceive with our whole being, not just see with the physical, but with the psychic side that we all have, which has been in process of paying too much attention to physical eyes and physical sight. You know, so it is for this reason we encourage our members to practice the exercises and the monographs, following the sequence in which they have been presented, and as time goes on, to go back to the very early basic ones in order to arouse these other higher sense faculties that we have, which also include intuition, for instance, telepathy, telekinesis, etc. You know, this is in which we can put our spirituality to work as well, because we become a little bit more sensitive to inner nature and receptive to these whisperings of our deeper self that will always encourage us to make progress spiritually. The next one will be the last question.
Most worthy Grand Administrator, thank you for the response, but can we make it 2 or 3 more questions? Because the last session, after the session, some fratres called me, some members called me to say that we've not been taking their questions or the timing is too short, but let's just see if we can accommodate 3 more. And I'm going to merge them, please.
Okay, in this case, we are going to go past the hour, but we have made an effort to try to see whether we can contain this forum within 1 hour. But okay, if it is the desire of the majority of our people to go beyond that, we will sometimes oblige. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Frater Kennedy is asking, having the knowledge that man is here on earth to have experience and he receives equal response to his actions, wouldn't these actions, whether good or bad, not necessary for his evolution? That's one. Then the other part, let me see. And the other part is from Fatal Genovo. If man is the problem and man the solution, what can one say about destiny with respect to man?
Thank you. First of all, it is true that the experiences we have in life, whether good or bad, according to our interpretation, you know, are in the interest of our evolution. And the purpose of evolution is for us to progress from imperfection to perfection. That said, yes, for the second question, man the problem, man the solution, and how it relates to our destiny. Yeah, each human being, as I said in the discourse, is the creator of his or her destiny, the architect of his fortune or misfortune. So it is true that if we see destiny as the direction towards which karma or the law of cause and effect is moving each and all of us, we will be more careful about what we think, how we speak, what we say, what we do, how we act, etc. Because by this thinking process, through the processes of our utterances and our deeds or actions, we set into motion or plant seeds into creation, which with time will yield us the fruits. Whatever we plant or sow into creation, we reap. And therefore, yes, it is true also that in fashioning our destiny, our thoughts, our utterances, and our actions count. Next question.
Thank you
Or
very
is this a
much,
synopsis of all?
No, please. Thank you very much, our most worthy Grand Administrator. Frater Bassi is asking, can man inherit karma from family bloodline? And Frater Lawrence is also asking, what is telepathy? And also, let me just add this. Out of curiosity, have you heard from the Frater in recent times who wanted a meteoric and geometric opening of his third eye, and what is his state now?
Let me start with the last one. We've not had contact for a long while, but I knew that he came around because, and this is interesting, he petitioned the Council of Solace, which most of us are bound to do when we're at our wit's end, having seen that it was futile for him to try to open the third eye overnight. And the Council of Solace set to work, and I can confirm that many years ago, his mental, emotional situation and challenges were resolved, and I think he had made some progress on the path. But I've not been able to follow up. All I know is that I think he made a serious effort to make progress, and he has certain results and has learned, and is moving on. And then the next one has to do with telepathy. Telepathy is to do with communication with thoughts. We normally say that thoughts have wings. So in your home, in the office, or in your normal interactions with fellow humans, you may pick somebody's thoughts and vice versa, and either say it almost at the same time in a classroom, or in a question and answer fashion, or for reasons of fun. And that is because we are all immersed in a universal consciousness from which the exchange of ideas and intelligence is possible. So when there's a new discovery, don't be surprised if some 2 or 3 people come up with it about the same time, because in trying to work and research in various fields, there is communication among the various minds of humans, deriving from the universal mind that is within each and all of us, which makes telepathy possible and easy.
Then there's one more question.
So the last question?
The question, it was part of the one I gave you. Can man inherit karma from family bloodline?
Thank you. By virtue of being born into any family, which is a karmic consequence in any event, and knowing full well that karma is not punishing anybody, it's not a terrorist, but a teacher, by virtue of being born and belonging to a certain family, we already are experiencing the effect of certain causes that we have set into motion, and which our own parents have also set into motion. And we are drawn through time and space to have the manifestation that is called a baby. So through factors of hereditary line of transmission through the genes and chromosomes, or of inheritance, what the soul personality has acquired in the previous lifetime, and through the parents that have been responsible for taking incarnation in such a home. We do have both positive and negative aspects of karmic cleavages manifesting in our lives. And so we have inheritance, we have hereditary, and we also have the conscious process of sowing seeds by our thoughts, our utterances, and actions, which can transform our lives for better or for worse, according to our intention, according to our knowledge of the game of life and how to play it, and according to our commitment and dedication to spirituality.
Thank you very much. I'm also the Grand Administrator. This final question would lead us into the attunement session. Frater Basil Nguchukwu is asking, greetings, my most worthy Grand Administrator. Religious bigotry has led to the division and civil crisis in many countries. My question is, how do we differentiate it from what is happening in Nigeria? And what can we do as mystics to assist in moving the nation forward?
Thank you. Number one, education. Number two, education. Number three, education. True, it has been said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And therefore, the more we embrace education at all levels, primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, polytechnics and universities, open universities, reading, study, investigation, the more we embrace spiritual education, which includes but not limited to the study of comparative religion. We cannot be preaching tolerance if, as a Christian, you refuse to read the glorious Quran when your next door neighbor is a Muslim, and vice versa. You are a Muslim, and for some reasons, you don't want to read the Christian Bible. Why? Or both of you, Christians and Muslims, don't want to read books like the Bhagavad Gita, which are religions in other parts of the world. It is okay for us not to bother too much to study or to research. But the consequences of such spiritual indolence is that there's a price to pay for our ignorance. We cannot truly say we are tolerant of other people's beliefs if we do not make an effort to study their own Bible, be it Christian Bible or the glorious Quran, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the Vedas, or the Upanishads. It is not fair if other persons refuse to study our own religions or read our literature. So we should have an open mind all the time. And it's only an open mind that can have access to the secrets of the universe. Therefore, it is important for us to talk about the need for education, to put it into practice in our daily lives. And the more we focus along such lines, the more enlightened human beings will be. And as a former president of the United States many years ago said, when you introduce education, the enlightenment it brings is like the light of day that causes the spirits, evil spirits of the darkness to disappear. The sunrise in the morning clears all the darkness of the night. So also education. If you do not know what the Rosicrucian Order Amok is, please grab the book, the introductory pamphlet called The Mastery of Life. And with the Mastery of Life, you know everything that the order is talking about, and you can become a member. Or if you don't want to become a member, you'll be tolerant of the fact that these people are interested in knowledge. in enlightenment and in advancing the cause of human civilization. That said, I can conclude by saying that we do have a Rosicrucian convention coming up November 4 to 7 in Abuja. Those of you who are members and participating here should please go to the website online for information about this convention and circle it in your diaries. It will be hybrid, meaning that we will be physically present in Abuja for all who can make it physically, but at the same time, we will have a webinar presentation like this of most of the events, not all, of course, most of the events. And so details of this convention you will see in the next Rosicrucian Heritage, as well as online if you click online and on our website. And the theme of this convention is service. Our new imperator, Frater Claudio Marzucco, will be coming, and it's November 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, it's 3 days, but arrival is on the 4th of November. So I invite each and all of you who are members to participate in this convention. There will be a public aspect of it, and those who are non-members can also, through the link that will advertise, be in touch with us during the period of the convention. That said, we are tossed out not just Nigeria, Ghanaians, and Africans, but with the rest of the world and our common humanity, that hopefully the pandemic will be gone as soon as that can be, and make it possible for us to interact once more in the normal way that we were used to, which recently we have been referring to as the old normal, as well as in the more modern digital ways of Zoom and virtual meetings, fora and symposia, etc. So on this note, I ask that you please sit relaxed wherever you are. And like we started in the beginning, breathe in and out and be relaxed. Feel yourself isolated from worldly events and worries and anxieties. And with the first deep breath now, feel yourself with the brilliance of eternal light. And as you exhale slowly, permit this light to charge your beings with its brilliance. With the second deep breath, acknowledge the breath of life, the vitality of the life force, and so that when you're ready to exhale, you can feel this vitality within and around you. Finally, with the third deep breath, acknowledge universal love. So that when you are ready to exhale, you may feel the sublimity of this love. Thus imbued with the light, life, and love of divine effulgence, let us unite in prayer. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse our beings and cleanse us of all impurities of mind and body. that we may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and worthiness. So would it be. And now, feel yourself in a spherical ball of light. Life and love. Feel very secure and safe within this environment where the all-powerful nature of the light, life, and love of God is. And now raise your consciousness to a point above your head. Raise it to a point above the building where you are. Above the village, town, city. Above the state, the country where you are. Into the clouds, over, above, and beyond the clouds, and to that realm, through time and space, in which you can feel the serenity of your celestial sanctum. In whichever manner you have visualized it, free from physical and material considerations, a spiritual abode that grants you solace and succor. And whilst in this non-physical environment, ask yourself, what is my problem? And how can I be inspired to find a solution to it? Hold this thought for a while and release it into the cosmos. Let us now unite in prayer. God of our hearts, God of our realization, in whose consciousness we live and move and have our being. Our help in ages past and our hope for years to come. In thy light may we see light. Give to us the consciousness of oneness with each other and with thee, that thy truth may prevail at all times and that we may know the freedom of thy divine unity. Grant to each and all who have problems, personal, family, work, office, business, as well as in interpersonal relationships, to come to terms with the fact that from your divine inspiration and guidance, all problems have solutions and can be resolved. Whether these problems are self-imposed or not. May we draw from your divine inspiration what it takes in terms of illumination and enlightenment to resolve our individual and collective problems and issues. May we have a realization that all problems are but stepping stones to a higher level in our ladder of evolution. And may our acts of service, individually and at the level of our order, be to your glory and the good of all. So to be. And now, fratres and sorors and friends, begin to return by the same route we ascended, through spheres, through time and space, into the atmosphere of our country, our state, our community, and the building where we are. Into our body, physical temple of our soul. As we become aware of our physical, objective, mundane environment. May the grace of God sanctify our individual and collective achievement with the Celestial Sanctum. So would it be. And now, fratres and sorors and friends, I wish you and all a very pleasant day, evening, and night. We'll be again together virtually 1 month from now. But even before that, I want to announce that on Saturday and Sunday, we have the Ghana webinar. And this will be hosted and co-hosted by Accra Lodge in Ghana, and of course, Grand Lodge Administration here in Calabar. You will have links is for members only. After that, the next weekend, I mean, these dates are for the Ghana webinar, the 3rd and the 4th of July. And the next weekend, and this also will be promoted, we'll be having the Western Zone Conclave, which will equally be promoted on the Zoom platform. It's a webinar. And so we do have some activities before the next GS forum. Thank you so much for participating. We look forward to assembling again with you for yet another theme or topic. Over to Nefertiti to say goodbye to all of us.
Thank you very much, our most worthy Grand Administrator, for an inspiring and thought-provoking session. I can assure you that we are always looking forward to these sessions. Distinguished fratres, sorors, and friends of our beloved order, this concludes our session for tonight. Thank you all for attending, and we hope you have learned a thing or two, as well as enjoyed this session. We look forward to having you back on this platform next month, August, for the GSE Forum. But like the GA already said, we are expecting us all on Saturday, 3rd of July and Sunday, 4th of July, 2021 for the Ghana webinar with the theme, Succeeding Through Very Challenging Times. The link for registration is being shared in the chat area. If you have not received it in your email, members, it's been shared in the chat area. Kindly note it is for members only. Time is 10 a.m. Ghanaian time, which is 11 a.m. Nigerian time on both days. To our members, do not forget to observe your sanctum session. Have a good night.